a wonderful blog. That just came on. I have to, got it. One of the things that she put in her Facebook was that sometimes we do a little piece of art and we'd like to see it bigger, but we don't know if we can actually move it from a small art form to a larger piece of art and still capture what we love about it. So she's going to explain some of the steps on how we do that, which I'm excited about because I have a little piece of art that I would like to make bigger. And I'm not sure how to get started with that because some of the artwork might not transfer over to a bigger canvas. So I hope you had a chance. There's been some wonderful communication from the communication committee with CAA on the Facebook and the blog, and they really have exciting information about all our upcoming artists. So I hope everyone gets a chance to check out all our new communication efforts. There's great. I love the communication committee doing all this work. Makes it a lot easier for all of us to keep up to date on what's going on. So Nikki Davis, are you excited? And this will be fun.
Yes, I held back from having my cocktail, just so that I'm not totally sleepy. 6 o'clock and it's dark. How do you, that's the first Zoom class or presentation that I'm doing. It's really weird for me because I like the contact. I like the personal contact with people. So this is very strange. So anyway, how do you guys like that versus having a live person in front of you? Anybody?
I've been very pleased with it myself.
Yeah,
We can see much better.
that's true because the canvas is right there rather than behind.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so I haven't done it in a while. And I'm totally welcoming questions. I don't mind being interrupted and while I'm doing, because sometimes I forget you're there and I get into my painting. So just jump right in and ask whatever. I remember one lady asked me, so how did you mix this blue over there? And I said, I have no idea. It happened. So I kind of talk about, it reminds me, my process, I get reminded of my process while I'm doing it, while I'm at it. Because I'm not a professional lecturer with a whole, guidelines of what to say. This business of having a wonderful little painting that you bring home, an 8x10 and 9x12, and it just shines, it just sparks, it's wonderful. And then you want to make a larger piece out of it. And that's pretty daunting because it's not just looking at the image and thinking you'll get everything right in the right. It has so many elements. It's the composition. It's mainly the composition, because really the values or the colors, they can change. You can reinvent some parts of the new painting. But the composition, or every element in your painting where you place it on the canvas, is probably what makes it a success or not. Before I start this one and show you what it is, I'll show you a couple of examples. And what I found really kind of, I do a lot of figurative now, but I have a ton of plein air, and plein air that I put on became a larger scale. But I'll show you a couple which are actually figurative. So this is my granddaughter. I had lunch with her. And so, so what I'm saying is that you can also take a photograph that you like, right? And you want to enlarge it. It's a little photograph in it. My best images for figurative I found in dentist offices when I was sitting waiting and going through their magazines, and I found a little boy sitting with his teddy bear, or a couple kids playing on the beach, or so if you find something like that and you want to you can take a picture, you can print it in a larger scale. Anyway, here she is. I took it on, but it was my phone and enlarged it. That's an 8x10. And as you see, okay, do you see the graph that I did where I divided it into squares? And I'll show you how I do it and what size squares I choose. After I did that, I put it on a larger canvas and did it on a 20, I believe it's a 20x20. Another one I did, I call this quarantine. I found this guy, this gentleman. I don't know if you can see, it's a little shiny, kind of sitting. And I took the main image of him reclining on a chair. And the rest of it, I kind of took some liberties with. But anyway, here he is.
Oh, that's great.
All right. And he has a dog. I added a dog by his feet. So sometimes I take an idea and the main figure and I call it create a story. And to me, it looks like something and I just create a story. So I add something in the background, which suggests what the story is. I did a whole series about, there was in 2020, I think, before the incredible election we had here, the unfortunate election. I did a whole series about the children on the border. That was one of them that I found on the internet. And again, I divided it into squares in order to put everything in the right place. And I created a large canvas.
Oh,
So, those are a few of things that caught my eye and my interest, and I decided to create a story with them. So for you, I chose a small painting I did of, this is in, I forgot which state it was. It's anyway, it's just a farm road with a couple farmhouses. So I printed it on a page. And then you see how I created a grid?
yes.
Okay. After I created a grid here, and it has to be, the sizes have to be, like if you enlarge an 8x10, you will take a 20 or a 16 by 20. You enlarge it in such a way that it makes sense to the size of these squares. And this canvas here has squares on it. Do you see?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I already done that. And I basically put the sketch, the initial sketch of this painting. I always sketch with, I choose maroon, just the color reddish. You can, I mean, anybody can choose. I like when I finish the painting, I like when some of that tone actually remains, and you can sometimes see it through the painting, just like with watercolor, where you can see sometimes the drawing of the pencil or the initial sketch, which in whatever color you did it. So let's see. My palette is pretty simple because I know that there's some people that have 75 paints on their palette. I like it to be pretty tight. I work with one kind of blue, with alizarin and cad red, with ochre, and with a couple of yellows, and for my darks I use phthalo green. You can use different blues and different greens, but it can pretty easily go out of harmony if you introduce, like the sky is ultramarine blue, and then there is cerulean blue going somewhere else. you have to be pretty crafty. You have to kind of introduce it in more than one, in just one place in the painting in order for the eye to accept it in a harmonious way. Okay, I like to say paint with large brush. I think you're all pretty seasoned artists and painters. I kind of not sure what, but anyway, I will share what I do. So I use large brushes. I always say that when you see yourself slowly, without really noticing, going to this, that means you have to stop.
Right.
Anybody can tell me why?
I'm guessing you're too controlled.
Controlled is, but and you know what? And it's very enticing. Like it's to put all the details to great lengths. It's very enticing to do. Like you do a tree and you go, wow, I can do all these leaves. You know, it's enough if you do only 3. Because the eye will kind of complete it, and the viewer doesn't want to count leaves. They know, they understand. There's a tree and there are 3 leaves here. That means the whole tree has leaves. You don't have to put in most of the leaves in. One thing about any of us that views art, I mean, watch yourself when you walk from painting to painting. Some of them you'll stop by and you will admire the skill because it's done very well. You can see every button on the shirt. You can count the hair, but it's kind of it's an appreciation. I don't know how much it touches your soul inside. If you go by a painting that is a little leaves a little bit to the imagination. For instance, if there is a line, the line can be broken a little. If there is a shape, the shape is not it's like kind of where you are between abstract and realism on the scale of that. Where do you find yourself? If you leave it a little loose and a little there is some interpretation for the viewer, they like it. I mean, I know that I stop by these paintings much more in order to check out what's going on. What does that mean? Or and there's a little more interest, and they also, to me, they touch something deeper inside as far as creativity, rather than something that is masterfully, wonderfully, exactly, accurately reproduced. So I'm still struggling with it every day, with every painting, mainly because I had art school. Maybe if I didn't have so much education in art, I would be more myself. And I hear the voices in my head. It's like when I paint outdoors and there is a scene and I can do it so perfectly. It's such, and so I say to myself, okay, calm down, do it perfectly, throw it away and do it again, the way you think you would like to see it. So these are just these conversations with oneself. It's how do you where do you want to see your painting go? Where do you want to see your creation go? I mean, if you're happy with just knowing how to do everything accurately, wonderful. There is space, there is room for that too. But anyway, my way is always to try and find something a little beyond the representational perfect image. Okay, I talked enough. So just stop me when you want to ask a question. I don't know how well you see the canvas. Do you?
Very well.
Okay, that's good. So better stand up. So I have, there's my image here. And by the way, I chose this. I thought it's easy because if I would choose lots of structures and buildings and so forth, I would be in trouble, I guess. So anyway, and the first, I don't know how long, I mean, more than a few minutes for sure. You basically covering the white. The white is pretty, what's the word? Intimidating. All you want is to see it go. So another thing is you do have to have enough paint on your brush. If you squeeze tiny little drops of paint on your palette and you try to stretch it all, it's frustrating. There's nothing to work with. You need the paint. You need paint on the brush. And nothing scares me too much because I can wipe it, I can scrape it, I can paint over it. I'm not getting married to every brush stroke, so it doesn't worry me if it's not exactly where and what it needs to be.
Are you painting in acrylic or oil or what?
These are oils.
Oils, okay.
These are oils, yeah. You can do pretty well with acrylic these days because there's lots of things that can keep them moist, and outdoors with acrylic, it's a little challenging because they dry so fast. I'm not very careful with keeping my brushes clean, which you should be actually, but I try to change brushes if I go from cool to warm. I don't always remember to do that, but so does everybody get to paint a lot these days? Yes, no?
We sure try.
You know what? I tried, I didn't succeed yet. It's crazy.
I think some holidays got in the way.
Yeah, I mean, we can give ourselves excuses, you know. But I don't know. I think it's the atmosphere of I don't know. It's something about the way life.
I started putting my self-study on the calendar.
Already.
I block it out because if I don't, I'll automatically wind up booking somebody.
And you actually keep to it.
Probably 3/4.
You don't have 9 grandkids, do you?
I don't have any grandchildren, which makes a lot of difference. I understand.
Yeah.
I have mixed feelings about that.
About the grandkids. Well, you know, they didn't ask me. They didn't consult me.
Several people on this call did put in beautiful artwork at Big Break. And when you were saying use the imagination, several of the pieces used a lot of imagination and made you stop and look. And the naturalists were saying that the work was just beautiful. But I did notice that several people had artwork in that did leave a lot for the person to interpret, which was wonderful. It's just what you were saying, Nikki.
Yes, yes, yes. It kind of looks at us as intelligent people, the viewers, like it leaves something for us to experience and to
Discover.
yeah, right. It's like it's like somebody doesn't chew the food for you. And-
Right.
Yeah, I am a pretty representational person, but I know that when I see semi-abstract or abstract work, which is very intelligent, it just mesmerizes me. It's like, yeah, well, maybe I can do that. Maybe not. I guess we all do.
That's what I say when I see representational.
Really.
Maybe I can do that. Actually, I find abstract harder than landscape.
Yes, you're right. You're right. But you know what? It's harder for a landscape painter, not the other. And the abstract painter, for the life of them, cannot do a good plein air painting.
What's the difference for you?
I think that I can't say for sure because I don't paint well in both styles, but I think that with plein air painting, you really get out of the way. You're out there. You're not in your head that much. It's kind of. Did you guys know Pam Glover? No.
Mhm.
No, it's like, well, she used to say it's as if I'm not even here. It's like something happened and I'm not sure how it did. I think it's more intuitional what happens on your canvas. And I think that I don't know, maybe good abstract is intuitional too. But I kind of have a feeling that there has to be more planning of the shapes and the colors and the lines and the negative spaces, and I'm not sure I'm right, but it's just to me some style of painting comes more from the head and some comes more from here, somewhere in here. Like that's all I can do. It came from here. I didn't plan it. It just happened. So that's what my plein air painting always felt like. It's pretty dark in the I see the image there and it doesn't appear that dark. So
When you sketch, do you put your shapes out there?
yes. Yeah, but yeah, I did the little houses. I did the shapes of them, the light and dark. I outlined the trees. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention, and you probably guys, know it, but I will just say it again. The main reason that you want to know exactly where everything falls, because I followed what I have on the grid here. The trees end up here. This horizon ends up here. It's because if you just try to copy it and these lines move and change, all of a sudden you say, well, why is my large painting not that great? While my small painting was so strong. So that's to pay attention to. Like here, the horizon is very low, which makes it interesting because as you probably all know, if the horizon is kind of in the center, it becomes static. Like the upper is half of the painting and the ground is half of the painting. It's sort of boring.
Yes.
Yes, okay. And if those trees were kind of in the middle, or if I had just one tree in the middle and nothing here, nothing here. Again, it's a keyhole composition, and again, it's static and it's boring. So when something happens because you connect with the scene that's out there, and you make this little jewel, just make sure that that jewel, exactly where everything is being copied to the large canvas. So so for instance, this line here, I did it exactly where this is here, where my horizon is. This tree here, I didn't bring it to halfway. I stopped it exactly where this one here is. And that's the reason for making a grid and helping this grid transfer your small painting into the large format. Yes. Ask me any question you need to.
Nikki, I noticed you did not do an underpainting, that you're painting right on a white canvas. Do you ever use an underpainting?
Oh, I see. Yes, underpainting is good. I was lazy. Underpainting, I would have said always, when it's cold, I would do a warm underpainting. When it's warm, I would do a cool, a bluish. But then I stopped doing it altogether because I use so much paint. I cover it anyway. It's because it's nice when the underpainting is, you can see some of it in when your painting is done. And it also is not as what's the word? I mean, you don't look at the white canvas, which is like a doctor in a white robe, right? It's sort of formidable. I mean, to see something white, just struggle to just cover the white. So if you have a color all over, it's a little more, it's gentler, it's a little more inviting. So that's a good idea, yes.
When you work, do you usually work on one painting at a time or several?
Unless the painting pisses me off.
Uh,
And then some of them stand in the corner for a very long time and look at me. If I work pretty fast, but if a painting, if I'm struggling and it takes a long time and I'm not happy with it, then I start another one. So there's two going on. I kind of look at the one that I put aside and maybe I'll go back to it. But usually, yeah, usually I just, I'm getting all excited about the one. If it goes well, it's very exciting. And I'm just, finishing the one painting at a time. Yeah. I put it aside only if if it starts to be a struggle. Are you all plein air painters? Yeah.
no, I've never painted plein air. I am an abstract acrylic artist.
Nice.
I'm learning how to do landscape on the digital iPad.
Yeah. And what do you use for it?
Procreate.
Can I take pictures and bring them home and paint from the pictures that I take?
That's
The
good.
photo.
And then that's a very good method to do that with, because you can print your picture on a page and then transfer it to your canvas.
Yeah, that's what I do too. I take a picture and bring it home. When I've tried plein air, it feels like I'm camping out. I mean,
Yeah, but you know what? I found that I remember we painting on Mount Diablo many times. And sometimes it would become dark quickly because the sun would start setting, or maybe the weather was a little, and you felt like you have to paint really quickly. Those were the best paintings
Uh-huh.
because you just stopped worrying about it. You stopped chewing on the brush and thinking too much, and you just pushed yourself, and those were some of the best results outside.
I do find thinking too much gets in the way.
Yes, absolutely. But you have to use your mind too. For instance, sometimes I hear myself talk to myself. It's like there are 4 trees standing, right? And I'm thinking, oh darn, I wish there were only 3. And then I say, duh, and I take one out. So you have to make some choices, even with what you see in front of you.
Do you have any tips on simplifying what you see out there?
Yes,
That's what gets me, is that I just get too caught up in
in the detail.
the detail, and it's hard for me to pick just a few things to focus on.
Right. So do you know what's his first name? McPherson?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took years ago, I took a workshop with him, and he has eyeglasses. They're the thickness of a bottom of a bottle. He's practically not seeing very well. And when he would set himself in front of a scene, he would take his glasses off. And all we saw is these blurry shapes. And that's definitely how he would start his painting, with the shapes. So he would say to us, for the rest of you who are unlucky enough to have perfect vision, just squint. So yeah, just lose them, lose all the branches and all the leaves and all the little, and just concentrate on the big shapes. You can always add them later, add some of them, make a choice how much of it you want, and don't use a little brush. A large brush, you can always use the side for little things. The minute you have a tiny little brush, and I still do it, and I still go, oh, that's really bad. It's because I'm using this brush with 4 hair, because this is when you get into these fussy little details. So
I wear glasses also, and I always thought it was a fortune to be able to have two types of vision, both the sharp vision and the blurry vision.
Okay, do you use your blurry vision for painting?
Absolutely.
There you go. Yep.
Good for you, Vernon. That's great.
Okay, there's the dark. And also, when you take a small one and create a large one, you really don't have to copy it to death. You can. This is kind of a guideline, signpost. Maybe you create something even better or a little different, but still just as good. So that's okay too.
Look at all the extra Concord Art Association members. Sarah's showing off her cat, and Liz has her doggie on her lap. So we have some additional members of our art association here in the four-legged fur area.
Yeah, my four-legged was chased out of here because she wants to go out of the room and then she wants to come into the room. So I said, you go away. Just go away.
So what kind of decisions are you making right now, Nikki?
Basically design decision of like what looks good and what doesn't. So I'm trying to give this who was that, MJ? Yeah? Who asked this question just now?
The one about what you were thinking?
Yeah.
That was Pat.
Okay, is MJ there? No? Okay, let's see. Sometimes if something is kind of stale and doesn't go anywhere, I just move to another area. So.
What kind of paint are you using, Nikki? You're using oil paint. What brand is it?
Yeah, now I use anything that I can get. I use these forever. Classic artist oil. These are great, but then they get dry, and because you have to push them out with a, what do you call that? Kind of with some, let's see, where is it?
Like a vice or something like that?
Caulking gun?
Caulking gun, yeah.
Wow, I've never seen paint in that kind of.
I haven't either.
And it became really hard on my hands.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
it's good paint is important, and the pigment, the strength of the pigment, but I use so much of it that it stays strong no matter what it is. So right now I have Utrecht, which is a good, I have Winston, it's kind of a mishmash. Utrecht, most of Windsor, Newton, and Utrecht. That's mainly what I have here.
And what kind was it in the tube?
It was it's called Classic. And they have them in tubes too, I believe, actually. Classic Artist Oil. They are from the Bay Area. What is it? They're around here somewhere.
Blick or Michaels or one of those?
No, you have Google the name. They don't have it in the art stores. You have to order it from the manufacturer. And they're here. They're I forgot the town.
That's amazing. I've never seen oil paint in that size tube. That's quite unique.
Oh, and by the way, I use this liquid. Liquid is like in the winter. It stretches your paint a little. It makes it like when it's hard, when it gets hard quickly from the cold, it makes it soft for longer. So today I had to put it in a microwave and everything else to get anything out of here. also about edges. Stay away, I stay away from very hard edges. If you have a broken edge, if you have a fuzzy edge, again, the viewer's eye likes to if we let them complete some of those lines, they like these challenges. It makes the painting more interesting rather than you outline everything perfectly for them. So. And I find it when I look at paintings, I test myself, like even on Facebook, you go, oh, great. Oops. Oh, and it's like where I stay is very interesting. It's when it's not perfect.
And you ask yourself, what makes it interesting?
Yes,
Then you
exactly.
find-
Yes, and you ask yourself, and that means this is where your direction is. This is where you'd like to go. Maybe some of us love the perfect, which is great. I admire people that do classical, wonderful representational art. It's just what attracts you. So see what attracts you when you look at a show. And this is where you really want to go. I'm still looking.
So there's a company in Livermore called Tricoat.
It's not in Livermore. It's called Classic Look.
Oh, this company's called Triangle Coatings, and
Yes,
they
there
have
you go. Yeah, are they
Triangle
Livermore?
Coatings. Yeah, Livermore, and they
yes,
say
yes.
they have classic artist oils,
That's the one. Yes.
painstakingly manufactured with extremely heavy pigmentation, buttery texture, and consistent premium quality.
They're very good. Yeah. Besides the rose madder, there is a color which is a little bit like a alizarin. It's called rose madder. Don't buy it. It'll bleed forever. It'll come through your whites and your whatever. Just something that chemical they did to that paint ruined it. So.
Mm.
I paint with a brush, and I also paint with a palette knife. I sometimes when you paint and you cannot get away from the fussy, that's perfect. Because then you go like this and you can smooth some areas and make them and simplify them. Make them much less fussy. Oh, I need Naples. I didn't put Naples up. By the way, if from time to time we get stuck. We all get stuck. Nothing comes out good. Nothing is. When it happens to me with color, I go back to the limited palette. Because if you take alizarin, yellow cad, ultramarine blue, to this three, which are primary, I add white and phthalo green. I like phthalo green because it's my dark. I can always add it to the alizarin for shadows. I can add it to the blue for shadows rather than use blacks. So with these three, plus the dark and the white, I can create just about any color I want. So that brings me back to harmony. And then when the colors are in harmony in the painting, it has a better, it looks better. Also, I'll show you in a little while, but if you, any color you use on your canvas, try and float it somewhere else. Don't isolate it to one area. There is a blue sky, that's it, Put some of it in the road, put some of it in the tree. And the same thing with the yellow, put some of it in the sky. This will always create harmony. What they want to say. Something about the color. It'll come back. Also, sometimes I mix the paint on the canvas. It's a little bit like cooking, and you have a soup in the pot, and you really cannot decide over here on the counter how much spices you want to put in it. You kind of put a little bit of this and a little. So that the same thing was that. It's like I can start with white, and then I can decide what else it needs. Maybe a little orange. White.
What about the pink? It seems sort of like your central colored. You put it somewhere else, won't it dry your eye away from the building?
The what color? What
The
did
pink. The pink
This-
building.
this pink? This here? Oh, or my pink line? Which pink are you talking about?
I'm seeing a pink building. I don't know if that's
Oh,
the
right
right.
here. Yeah, this is just a drawing so far. So that's my initial drawing. And I will get back to it. And but you see some pink over here, the lines of that's my drawing right there. That's really annoying. Can't show you.
Be grateful we can show each other.
Yeah, okay. Why isn't it very good? So now I'm using the palette knife.
Now, how faithful are you being to your study that you brought in? It seems like you're really just sort of making this into a whole new thing.
I don't,
But you maintain the composition, but then
yeah. But
when
I'm
you get
not,
that
I'm
in-
not- but I'm not married to this. And I don't have to copy the exact cloud where they are, or as I said, you can, this is like a signpost. This is just something to direct you where to put your initial composition. It's all about the composition.
right.
Even if you change the colors, I think it'll be good. It's basically about the composition.
We talked about the paint you use, Nikki, but I've been having a lot of discussion with my new art instructor, Charles White, and he's been talking a lot about rosemary brushes. Has anyone used rosemary brushes? They're out of London.
Are they expensive?
No, they're not expensive, but the shipping over cost a little bit of money to have them shipped over, but the brush itself is no more than if you went to Michael's.
You know what?
I think they're wonderful. I use them.
Renee, you use rosemary brushes?
Yes.
Oh, good. Yes. I was wondering about it because he says that they're the best.
You know what I find? If I want to paint, I can paint with my elbow. I mean, my brushes look like I chewed on them after a very short time. So I need new ones. And yeah, it's important to have disable. Oh, by the way, I didn't talk about my brushes, right? I like them to be flat and long. I don't have the stubby ones, but you know how some of them comes kind of stubby, shorter?
Yeah,
I like the hair to be long because it carries more paint. And then I like them because I can always paint with the side and make small marks, or with the flat side and make larger marks. I like good brushes, but I'm not too concerned about it because after 2-3 times, 4 times I paint with them, and maybe I forget to clean them sometimes, or I mean, they're not as pristine and wonderful and British as when they started. So so I look for good brushes on sale, basically.
I have a friend, this is kind of changing the subject, but I'm a bowler. And my friend is always complaining about her equipment. And I'm going, is all of your equipment faulty? And she said, well, they don't work. I said, sounds like a user problem to me.
Like, yeah, like the floor is crooked when the dancer is lousy. Huh?
yeah.
Okay, these are just touches I did at the end, actually.
I like how you divide the yellow minimally with the green. It just kind of, it gives structure to it, but doesn't overwhelm it.
The what? The yellow is
I like how you divide the yellow up with the slight green amount.
oh, I see. Uh-huh. Yeah. Now skies would be always darker up here.
Why?
I mean, you know, this is an old canvas. I took an old painting and I gessoed it with white. So I'm fighting with a lot of texture because I didn't have the right size. So
Why is it darker there?
because if you look at the sky down here, light, and as you go up, it's dark. Test it tomorrow. As you go up, the atmosphere is thicker, or there's something. Is there somebody good in science amongst you?
You're
Because
looking through more of the Earth's atmosphere at the horizon, and it takes away the blue. When you're looking straight up, you're just looking right into the
blue.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Nikki, did you do it all in an ultramarine blue and just add white towards the bottom and then darker at the top, or did you change colors?
Here, no, it's all ultramarine. And yeah. That's the only blue I have on my palette. I mean, sometimes I use cerulean and some, basically only cerulean would be the other one I'd use. By the way, if you know how you have little holes that you see through in the trees, they have to be very few and very small. I mean, like, don't What, you know what I mean? Don't overdo it. Becomes hokey. Because it's kind of cute to make lots of holes in the tree. Okay.
Never really gave it that much thought.
Really?
Pat McDermott, you look too comfortable. Are you sleeping?
Yeah, I mean, if you can keep your shapes large, rather than especially the large, like the large parts, make them solid rather than a lot of busy. Okay.
Patty, I'm just enjoying watching her paint because I'm one of those little brush people. I am. And it's just really, you're amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and the little brush, it's not your fault. Once you have a little brush, you're lost. That's it. Tick, 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 tick.
That's all I own are little brushes.
Oh, really?
I have a couple of, they call them Goliath, but they're as big as your little ones probably.
Yeah, you know, we had a wonderful painter. He died when he was very young, Paul Stampen. And he painted amazingly with very, very little brushes. And I remember I showed with him several times, and I remember him bringing a larger painting than usual, like at 16 by 20. And he said, Nikki, I used a brush with 4 hair for this one. I'm going to a little brush because I'm going to do the little house. See, that's my little brush. It's kind of, see how it looks like I chewed on it? Yeah.
That's the size of my big brush, Nikki.
I figured.
No wonder you work so small, Pat.
And by the way, I just noticed it myself. I haven't washed my brushes once. This is not good. But I wipe them a lot. And quite frankly, if I move to another part and some of my other color, like I have red here, and I move even here, some of that color goes in there. I don't mind.
Right.
That's part of keeping harmony. See, now I need a little brush. I don't know where my-
Jinxed it.
Yeah. Well, let's-
No, don't do it. Just kidding.
Pull a couple of hairs out of your head.
or my doggy.
I think the dog would object, but that's okay.
I just want a little definition here. How are we doing this time? Well, I'm not going to finish it in one sitting, but I hope I gave you some ideas of what my process is anyway. I mean, there are many different ones out there and they're all probably wonderful. So,
Really valuable. Thank you.
all right. Remember, by the way, I didn't do it here, but clouds, they are darker on the bottom. So that's another thing that will be added here as I develop the painting. And there is a finished one.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Beautiful work. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Thank you so much.
You're
Thank
Yeah.
you.
you're so
Very
welcome.
enlightening.
Thank
I
you.
hope you enjoyed the experience of painting with
Oh, I
us
do,
by
you know.
Zoom.
Thank you.
Well, if I was there with you, I would have loved it even more.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks,
very much. It was
Nikki.
wonderful.
Bye-bye.
That was great.
Thanks.
So I think that's it for today. I hope you can join us. Our next Zoom is on Saturday, January 22nd at 11 a.m. And so that is our art chat. And I'm planning to do a little drawing thing. I'm not sure exactly what you would call it, but we'll do a little drawing exercise, and then we'll be sharing our art. So I hope you can make it for that. And that's it for today. So thanks everybody for joining. I got a lot out of this. It was great. So
I did
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great.
In a
Thank
few
you.
days,
Wonderful.
in a few days,
Very
this will
nice.
be up. So we've recorded